Welcome to the Mystic Messenger podcast. I'm your host, the Mystic. This is where we decode the hidden truths, the forgotten systems, and the sacred maps buried beneath the noise of this world. Today we begin a series that may completely change the way you view tarot, spiritual tools, and even your own consciousness. Because tarot is not what you've been told it is. It's not just a deck. It's not just a reading. It's a living mirror, one that reveals the exact frequency you're holding, whether you want to see it or not. And here's the secret most spiritual circles don't understand. And the elites definitely don't want you to know this. Tarot is a consciousness technology, a sacred map, a multidimensional signal receiver built to reflect where you are in your soul's evolution, not just what's coming. Let's start at the beginning. The part history rarely talks about. The tarot did not start with gypsies and love readings under candlelight. That's the romanticized version, the one that keeps you distracted. Tarot's true roots are embedded in the Tree of Life, the Kabbalah, and the ancient Egyptian mysteries. Each card is a living archetype, and the 22 major arcana are deeply linked to the 22 paths of the Tree of Life, each one representing a bridge between states of consciousness. The Fool isn't just a naive traveler. The Fool is a preformed consciousness, the pure zero-point soul stepping into embodiment. The Magician, not just manifestation, but the soul remembering it has tools to each realm: thought, emotion, will, and material. Tarot at its origin was never about what's going to happen to me. It was about where am I in the cosmos? What gate am I walking? What frequency is my soul broadcasting? The truth is, each time you shuffle the deck, you're not pulling from the future, you're pulling from your own field. That's why tarot is sacred, and that's why they tried to turn it into a game. Here's what most readers don't know. Tarot operates on 3 layers of consciousness, and your reading changes based on which one you're perceiving. So if the reader is pulling from a lower consciousness that is aligned with them, you will resonate with their reading at that level of consciousness. If they pull a reading that doesn't resonate with you, that's read at a higher level of consciousness, then you don't resonate with that frequency. So the first level is the ego layer, the matrix tarot. This is where most collective readings exist currently. You ask, is he coming back? Will I get the job? Is she cheating? Is he my twin flame? These questions are rooted in control and lack. When you read from the level, tarot becomes a feedback loop of your fear. You pull the tower and you panic. You pull the devil and you think it's someone else. But it's always showing you. The Matrix loves this level because it keeps you dependent on something external to validate your own path. Level 2, the soul level. This is when you start to awaken. You stop asking about people and start asking, what am I not seeing? What pattern is repeating? And what is this challenge trying to teach me at this very moment? At this level, tarot becomes a mirror of your own curriculum. The same cards may show up, but now you see meaning instead of fear. You stop blaming others, you start integrating. Level 3, the light body level. This one is difficult to access for most tarot readers. Here, the cards are no longer just symbols, they are energy codes. You pull the Hangman and realize, I've been resisting stillness. You pull the Death card and say, I'm in an ego collapse and I can either resist or surrender. You understand that every spread is an encoded message from your higher self, and you can shift the message by shifting your frequency. The cards aren't fixed. They reflect resonance. And here's the rarest truth of all. You can override any card in the deck by elevating your state of consciousness. Why would something like tarot, a deck of illustrated cards, need to be suppressed, you may ask? Because it holds the blueprint of sovereignty. When used correctly, tarot removes dependency on priests, psychics, and outside forces. It empowers you to look inward, take radical responsibility, and see every external event as an echo of your inner vibration. And that kind of sovereignty threatens every control structure on earth. Religious institutions branded it demonic. Governments laughed it off as pseudoscience. Even parts of the New Age community turned it into a performance gig to make some income. Because the second you realize tarot doesn't predict your life, it reflects your soul state, you begin to rise out of the illusion. You stop giving your power away, and the system begins to crack. Let's talk about the mechanics. Tarot doesn't magically pull a future outcome. It mirrors your current resonance. That's why you ask the same question twice and get a different card. Because your field is in motion. Your thoughts shift, your energy shifts, and the deck responds. Let's say you pull the Tower. Most people will panic. But what if your soul is actually excited? Maybe you've been holding on to a false identity. Maybe the universe is finally collapsing it so that you can become who you were always meant to be. The card isn't good or bad. It's a vibrational signal that says, this is what your energy is currently aligned with. That's why daily readings are so powerful. Not to forecast the day, but to check your field. Wands equal energy and direction. Cups, emotion and intuition. Swords, thoughts and truth. Pentacles, embodiment and matter. You are not asking the cards to tell you what to do next. You're asking them to reveal what part of you is speaking right now. If you want to evolve your tarot practice, maybe change some of your questions. This is what I did. When I first started out, I read tarot as a story, as a love story, as a career story. And I knew something was wrong. I didn't resonate. I didn't feel comfortable reading this way. Instead of, will I get this job? I started asking, what in me needs to be aligned with this opportunity? Instead of saying, is my person coming back? I started saying, what am I projecting outward that I'm afraid to meet within? Because when you ask conscious questions, you don't just get an answer. You receive keys. You unlock memory. You remember your mission, and you realize tarot was never here to tell you what happens. It was here to remind you who you are. And now, the most sacred truth. When you embody these archetypes, you don't need to pull a card to know where you are. You feel the high priestess when you're listening. You live the hermit when you're healing. You activate the chariot when your will is aligned with source. Eventually, tarot collapses into you. The symbols dissolve, and you realize you are the fool. You are the magician, and you are the world. That's why I say, tarot is not a tool, it's a mirror. And when the mirror is fully remembered, you stop asking what's coming, because you know you are the one calling it in. Now we're going to talk about how I have learned to read tarot. And I do it very differently. And some people are interested and some people aren't. That just tells me that the ones that aren't interested are not resonating at my frequency. And the ones that are resonating at my frequency. And they will understand how I read tarot. So let's start with the basics. At an esoteric level, tarot has multiple levels like we've discussed. An exoteric outer, the images, the archetypes, the meanings you see in guidebooks. What tarot readers are reading currently. The psychological, which is the shadow work, emotional triggers, subconscious reflection. The energetic, it's the reading the field, the timeline probability, vibrational mirroring. And the esoteric, the hidden spiritual architecture behind each card and the soul codes they contain. The esoteric level is not about who's texting you back. It's not about what's next for your healing. The esoteric level reveals your pre-incarnational agreements, your tree of life path, your chakra initiations, and your cosmic contract. It shows you not just what is happening, but why your soul agreed to it, and how those moments fit into your ascension blueprint. Why most readers can't access this level. This part might sting, but it is truth, and I have been here. So, most tarot readers can't access the esoteric layer, not because they aren't gifted, but because they haven't purified their vessel. The esoteric level requires spiritual authority, not ego, but in frequency. It requires emotional neutrality, unshakable inner stillness, multidimensional awareness, and most of all, service to truth over performance or income. If a reader is reading while emotionally entangled, attached to an outcome, reading for validation, followers, dopamine, high, or money, then the deck will only open to the level they're vibrating at. The esoteric level will be guarded. It is not unlocked through study. It is revealed through initiation. And this is why many readers pull accurate cards, but miss the soul message completely and read a love story. Because the cards don't speak at one level. They speak at the level of the reader's field. Now, here is another sacred truth. The esoteric level of tarot was never meant for everyone. It was entrusted to those who remember their role as soul translators. This will be in your soul's blueprint, which is in your natal chart. These beings are often former grid workers, ancient priestesses, mystics, and oracles, holders of Akashic memory, or even starseeds from systems like Sirius, Orion, or Lyra, here to bring the sacred back to the system. When these souls come online, the cards become light codes, not symbols. They read beyond the image. Some will not understand what they are speaking of. They hear the frequency behind the draw. They feel the shift in the collective field as they pull the spread. And most importantly, they read with no attachment to the client's reaction, because they are not reading to please anybody. They are reading to awaken the collective. So how does one actually access this level, you may ask? Well, here's the truth most won't say. You don't climb up to it, and you clear down to it. And what I mean by this is, it's not about knowing more meanings or how to read or taking classes or courses. It's about becoming energetically refined enough to hear what the deck is actually saying to you. It requires chakra purification, especially the throat, third eye, and solar plexus. You must release distortion around needing to be right, needing to be liked, or needing to control. Timeline surrender. Esoteric readings don't predict timelines. They illuminate choice points, quantum branches, and ask the client to choose. 0 point awareness. You must read from neutrality, not personal emotion, not bias, but sacred witnessing. You are the observer. Daily energy calibration. You are the deck before you touch the cards. If your field is off, your channel will be too. And finally, soul permission. You cannot force esoteric access. It opens when your mission is ready to deliver the truth, without distortion or ego. Now, here's why this episode matters so much. We are in a planetary initiation. People are awakening very fast, but awakening without grounding leads to collapse. And people are turning to spiritual tools to find direction, but most are not being shown the full picture. That's why humanity needs more esoteric readers, and they are coming. They are. Because they don't just guide, they guard the thresholds between destiny and light. They don't just interpret the cards, they activate remembrance codes in others. One soul level reading can reset an entire timeline It can trigger DNA, can close karma loops, can awaken mission memory. Esoteric tarot is not entertainment. It's actually quite boring, but it is energetic restoration, and it has purpose. And those who carry this frequency are not just readers. They are realigners of the grid. If you've made it to this point in the episode, you might be one of them. You've always read differently. You've always felt that the cards whisper something deeper to you than beyond what a guidebook could tell you. You've always known that when you pull for someone, you're not just given a reading, you're delivering a soul map. If this is you, your next step is purification. Not study, not more decks, but silence, integration, and devotion. Because once the esoteric gate opens for you, you don't just see the cards, you see the memory behind them, the lifetimes, the pain, the soul choice, the contract, the key. And from that moment forward, you don't just read, you remember. Most people think their future is fixed. I'm here to tell you, it is not. That it's already written, that tarot shows a single outcome. No. That's not how reality works. You are not moving through time. You are broadcasting into time. Every thought, emotion, decision emits a frequency, and that frequency aligns with a timeline. So when you do a tarot reading, you're not just seeing the future. You're seeing your current alignment's projection. Timeline alchemy is the art of recognizing that every moment is a fork. Every reading is a single check. And if you don't like what you're reading, you shift it, not by force, but by your frequency. So, I'm going to speak about the power of a 3-card soul spread really quick. This spread is deceptively simple, and sometimes people use it in the wrong text. But when done consciously, it becomes a timeline, diagnostic, and alchemy portal in one. This is where I tell people to start. So the structure is, your first card is your current frequency. This shows what energy you are broadcasting right now. It reveals what timeline you're naturally magnetized based on your current thoughts, emotions, and subconscious patterns. So you're going to pull 3 cards. Your first card is the current frequency you are in. The second card is going to be the chosen trajectory. This shows the timeline you are heading toward if nothing changes. It's the most likely projection based on your current field. Card number 3 is going to be your timeline shift key. This card shows the energy you must embody or integrate to shift to a higher timeline. It is not predictive. It is prescriptive. This card is your soul's invitation, a frequency you must merge with to override lower trajectories. So, let's walk through an example. I'm going to just tell you 3 cards off the top of my head, and I'm going to interpret. Just short form. Card 1. Let's say I pull the 5 of Cups. Your current frequency is loss, regret, fixation on the past. Card number 2, the 10 of Swords. Your trajectory is burnt out or collapse if you don't shift in perspective. Card number 3 is the Queen of Pentacles. Your shift key is embodiment, self-nurture, and grounding restoration in order to shift to the next timeline. So this tells you are currently vibrating in sorrow and depletion. Your trajectory is emotional or physical crash. Your soul is asking you to return to rootedness, body wisdom, and self-containment. So now the work isn't to fear the 10 of Swords. The work is to become the Queen of Pentacles. And by doing that, you collapse the old timeline and move into the new. This is not magic. This is energetic accountability. So, how do you actually know you shift? Here's the process I teach people or guide people. I really don't teach. I'm not a teacher. So, you acknowledge the current frequency without judgment. You must see what you're radiating. Let the first card speak honestly, no sugarcoating it, even if it sucks to hear. Own it. 2, you need to release the emotional charge. If your trajectory card scares you, pause. Breathe into the fear. Tell the card this is not a punishment, it's a reading of resonance. 3, you need to merge with the shift card. Study this card. And I don't mean get a guidebook and read everything about the Queen of Pentacles. Meditate with it, sit silently with it, look at it. Ask yourself, what does this archetype feel like in my body? If it's strength, breathe into your solar plexus. If it's temperance, move slowly and regulate. If it's a star, return to trust, visualize healing. 4, you need to take aligned action. Don't just shift internally. Anchor it with real-world action that matches the energy of the shift card. That's what unlocks in the new trajectory. There's something sacred I want you to know. Every major arcana card is a timeline gate. It's connected to the 12 gates, the 12 zodiac signs. Each one represents a quantum layer of consciousness, and when you pull one, it's not just symbolic. It's telling you which timeline dimension you're dancing in. The Fool, pre-manifestation timeline. The Magician, manifestation gate. The Wheel, karmic overlay timeline. The World, the exit timeline, full cycle closure. You're not stuck. You're just not aware of the timeline you're vibrating into. That's why tarot is not for prediction. It's for recalibration. And it is very difficult to read at an esoteric level. There are so many layers to it. The truth is, you don't need to fear the future. You don't need to ask what's going to happen. You need to ask, what energy am I holding currently? And what energy am I becoming? That is going to get you further than any other question. Because you hold the power. So, the origins of tarot are debated in academia. They say it came from Italy or Egypt or even Persia, but the truth isn't in history, it's in the frequency. The tarot deck as we know it was not created by artists. It was designed by initiated souls, just like me and you. Wisdom holders of esoteric system that predates religion. Systems like the Hermetic mysteries, the Kabbalistic tree of life, the astrological gateways. Every major arcana card is aligned to the path of the tree of life. Every number in the minor arcana connects to the Sephira, or soul gate. Every court card corresponds to a mastery frequency within your elemental nature. This is not random. This is math. It's sacred geometry. It's the divine structure that a lot of people talk about, but they do not understand. The tarot was built as a mirror to your soul's descent into matter and your path to return back to source. If you look at the tree of life, there is a top and a bottom. It does not end at the bottom and it does not end at the top. It is never ending. It is a continuous loop. Let's decode this further. The major arcana, there's 22 archetypes, and they're not just characters. They are the stations of your soul's journey through lifetimes. They correspond to the 22 paths of the tree of life like we discussed, 22 Hebrew letters, which are codes of vibration, and the 22 internal energy gates of the light body. From the Fool, which is the path 0, pre-incarnational spark, to the World path, 21, completion of karmic cycles. You are literally walking the spiral of return. These cards are not predicting your week. They are reminding you of where you are in your spiritual evolution cycle. And here's the secret. If you meditate or sit in stillness with the major arcana in sequence, you begin unlocking your soul memory in order. This is why the tarot was hidden, because once you remember what each card activates, You don't just learn about the journey, you activate it. Now let's talk about the layer beneath the layer, the esoteric level reading again. Like I said, this level cannot be accessed with the mind. It opens only through vibration, surrender, and soul permission. At this level, the reader doesn't interpret symbols. They hear frequencies. They read not the card, but the light signature it opens. Let me give you an example. We're going to pull the Tower again. Most see chaos or endings. An esoteric reader sees the destruction of false construct held in your DNA field from your past timeline. Two very different things. You pull the Empress. Most see abundance or feminine energy, receptive, wait to receive. An esoteric reader sees a soul level activation of the Venus gate, connected to the second chakra and ancestral feminine line. Very different interpretation. Let's say pull the Hangman. The masses panic about delays, but the one reading from the esoteric plane, they see an initiation window. It's a divine pause your soul coded in before you were born to prevent karmic backside. This level is not seen. It is remembered. The reader becomes the conduit, not of the meaning, but of the memory. Most readers never access this layer, not because they lack skills, but because they were never shown that the layer even exists. The collective mind has been trained to read tarot from the mind, the need for control and the surface of symbolism, and a way to earn money off of people because they're holding on to hope. But the esoteric layer opens only when the reader no longer seeks confirmation. The ego is silent, and the soul is willing to deliver the truth even if it costs them their approval. This is gatekeeper level reading. It is not performance. It is service. And those who carry this gift, they are not influencers. They are frequency coders for the grid. Their readings don't give answers. They shift fields. We're in a global awakening cycle currently, and the old systems are collapsing fast. People are turning to tarot, astrology, and spiritual tools because they feel lost. But most of what they've been shown is surface level guidance that keeps them dependent. What humanity needs now is true soul reflectors, esoteric transmitters, architects of remembrance. The tarot grid, when read correctly, can guide souls back to their original blueprint, not just to feel better, but to realign with their mission, exit the reincarnation cycle, and restore planetary codes. This is the work of the new priesthood, not temples, but timelines, not robes, but remembrance. And this is what we are going to see come more online as we ascend. So tarot isn't just a tool. It's a grid, a gate, and a remembering. And the deeper you go, the more you don't need the cards to speak, because you become the voice behind them. So tarot is a device. It is not a deck of just plain cards. Let's begin with the bold truth. Tarot was never meant to be cards in a box. It is a consciousness interface, like a psychic dashboard connected to your soul's current signal. Imagine this. Each card is a broadcast frequency. Each spread is a transmission layout. Each pull is a reflection of light code you're currently holding. Just like a medical scan reveals the condition of your body, tarot reveals the condition of your energy body. And the cards aren't passive. When placed in certain configurations, they activate dormant strands of spiritual memory within you. It's not just about the reading. It's about the energetic effect the reading has on your field. That's what makes it sacred technology. Not information, but integration. So how did something so powerful become so diluted? It was by design. The deeper function of tarot was erased when it became the focus on romantic readings. It was turned into an entertainment. The esoteric keys were replaced with keyword flashcards. And most damaging of all, it was pulled out of grid context. Tarot is not a standalone oracle. It's meant to be woven into the Tree of Life, the astrological wheel, the planetary gates, and the chakra initiation system. Once those frameworks were stripped away, the deck became a fragmented mirror showing partial truths, but never whole truth. It's like using a cosmic operating system on airplane mode. So how do we rebuild the tarot as a sacred technology? It starts with the consciousness of the reader. The reader must become a vessel of stillness, a sovereign field of neutrality, a bridge between dimensions. The resurrection begins when you stop reading tarot from emotion or logic and start reading from 0-point awareness. This means no projecting desire, no interpreting from fear, no asking questions from attachment. You must first become the grounded antenna. Only then does the tech come online. And here's what happens. Once you reach this level, the deck responds in a new way. Cards begin communicating across the spreads from geometric grids. You begin hearing messages between the pulls. That's when the resurrection is complete, not in the cards, but in the reader. The full resurrection requires rebuilding the original energetic grid that tarot was part of. Here's how we can restore it. Re-anchoring the tarot to the Tree of Life. Every major arcana card connects to the path on the Tree of Life. When you read, ask, what Sephiroth is the card activating in the soul? This reveals where the client is on their divine evolution ladder. You need to integrate astrological and elemental forces. Each card is ruled by a planet or sign. Stop separating tarot from astrology. Use both together to diagnose energetic blockages and cosmic activations. The problem here is most readers pull the exoteric ego planet ruler. There is another layer. There is a esoteric soul level planet ruler for each house. An esoteric reader can read both. An exoteric reader, egoic, can only read the lower level. You need to align cards with chakra frequencies. The deck can tell you which chakra is blocked, overstimulated, or initiating or upgrading. Use this in healing, coaching, and lightwork sessions that you do. Use sacred layouts as technology. We know the Celtic cross. It's actually a crucifixion grid. Ego, sacrifice, and rebirth. The 3-card spread is a Trinity template, vibration, projection, and transmutation. Custom spread based on Sephiroth alignments can directly influence energetic balance. Every layout isn't just random, it's geometry, plus initiation, which is transformation. The earth is shifting, old systems are dying, souls are awakening faster than they can integrate, and if we continue to hand them fragmented tools, they'll continue to experience fragmented healing. But when we resurrect sacred technologies like tarot, not as gimmicks, but as soul systems, we give humanity back its navigation system. A way to see beyond the veil, to track their evolution, to feel empowered, not dependent. We rebuild spiritual infrastructure, not with temples, but with conscious tools used in alignment. This isn't about the cards. This is about cosmic circuitry coming back online. And here's the secret behind the secret. The deck is powerful, but you are the source code. You are the transmission, you are the grid, you are the architect. This tarot didn't survive because of publishers. It survived because of souls like yours. Souls who knew it was more, souls who carried its memory, souls who came back now, not just to read it, but to resurrect it. Let this be your call to rebuild, not the trend, not the surface level, but the sacred structure. Because when the real system returns, so does the remembrance of what it was built to serve. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a deeper relationship with the unseen. Speak to the tarot as a friend. Honor it as a consciousness. and let it reveal to you what no spread ever could. Let's drop the veil completely. You were never supposed to shuffle cards hoping for signs. You were never meant to chase answers through someone else's channel. You weren't meant to scroll through algorithms trying to decode your fate from strangers. That system, it was designed to keep you busy, distracted, spiritually preoccupied, but never to truly wake you up. Because if you ever really remembered what tarot was, you'd throw the deck down and feel the code rising in your own body. You'd realize the cards are just echoes of you. Past you, future you, galactic you, ascended you. You'd stop asking what's coming and start declaring what is. You'd stop identifying as a reader and start walking as the oracle. Because the truth? You were the deck. Every archetype, every gate, every cycle. You were the fool stepping into earth. You were the magician forgetting and remembering your tools. You were the tower collapsing illusion. You were the star guiding others back to their own light. And in the end, you were the world. Whole, awake, and returning. So let me say this raw and clear. You don't need another spread. You don't need another teacher. You don't need another prophecy. You need to remember your function. You are the bridge. You are the key. You are the living system the Matrix can't decode. And when you stand in that knowing, not as a reader, but as a frequency, you don't just shift timelines, you collapse the veil forever. To those who hear this podcast and feel the remembering in your blood, you are not alone. You are the one the cards are waiting for. Now close the deck and become the light.